Hi guys, welcome to the NGTV Sports Scene recap of the weekend's action. I think first of all, I think we need to speak about the Merseyside derby first. I think
Good place to start.
Liverpool 0, Everton 2. Do you think that was a shock, or was that
I mean,
pretty much how you seen it going?
with the way this season's gone, it wasn't a huge shock. I suppose you always expected Liverpool to get up for a derby, but I mean, I think Everton were well worth the money. To be honest, they were the better team. Soft penalty, but you know they still controlled the game pretty much. So yeah, I thought Everton deserved the win. To be honest.
Yeah, I think that goal in the first, I think it was 3 minutes, was crucial. Because I think Liverpool have this season, particularly Liverpool, have struggled against teams that sit further behind the ball. So you've got your two sets of four, and they're struggling to break that down. So Everton getting that early goal, they knew they could just soak up the pressure then, because say the form Liverpool are in, they're not going to break you down.
Yeah.
I think the last time Liverpool were at home, I think, was against Spurs, 2-1.
Like 5 home games.
Ago. Yeah, it's been a long time. So they've only scored one goal in the last 4 or 5 at home. That was a penalty against Man City.
It's pretty poor, isn't it?
Yeah, so they're in a massive route at letting them in. Then the 19 points behind Man City now as well.
Yeah.
I just think that I don't know how to explain it. They're very. I think teams are seeing how one-dimensional they are. They haven't got a plan B.
Yeah.
If plan A doesn't work, they're, they're just screwed pretty much. And I think that's what Klopp now needs to work out.
Yeah, I would say they're in massive danger at the moment of not making the top four, especially with the form West Ham are in. West Ham have got a game in hand over them as well. It's looking perilous for Liverpool at the moment.
It is so obviously with West Ham winning, they're 5 points behind now. I think the West Ham are on 45, Liverpool on 40. Especially with only 13 games left as well.
Yeah, it's
You
not
know
long to go, is it?
the games are out sharpish,
Yeah.
and Liverpool have still got a few difficult games to go as well. So Jordan Henderson went off injured as well.
Yeah, I did see that. And he's going to
That
be out
again is
for
going to be another miss.
a few weeks as well, like a good few weeks, I think.
Yeah, it was. He tried to play on, didn't he? There was no way he was going to play on. Whenever you see a player go down without there being any contact whatsoever, you're just not going to carry on, because it's like you've pulled something, or
Yeah,
something along them lines. There's something you can't run off. So, props, he tried to carry on, but I think he only carried on for about 5-10 minutes,
Yeah.
and then he was off. So, suppose that just adds to their centre back worries. Obviously, the other new signings injured. Then that obviously you got Van Dijk, Gomez, Fabinho's injured still, I think.
Yeah.
You're running out. I think they're running out of players to play at centre back.
I
I don't know who they're going to play there next game.
I have no idea. I did read that Henderson will miss at least 5 league games, I think it said. So that's a big chunk of the run in. So it is a bit panic stations for Liverpool at the moment.
Yeah, it's. I'd say with that injury as well, I can't see when it's going to change. I know they've got Sheffield United, I think, next game.
Yeah,
They're bottom of the league. So I don't think they offer much going forward. So they might be okay next game, maybe. But you just think who's going to play centre half with Kabak now?
Do you have to go to like a back three and mix things up?
I know they've still got that Phillips who came on, but he's he's not good enough to play for like
Yeah.
Liverpool or any
He's
Premier
young,
League
isn't he?
team. I think Kabak's been booked in all games he's played. He looked all over the place against Everton as well.
Yeah.
They just think they've just got major worries, and obviously the front three aren't. If Salah doesn't score, they don't score. Is kind of how the pattern's going as well. So
Yeah.
I think they are in trouble of definitely not qualifying for top four, and I think that's, can they keep hold of their good players not being in the Champions League as well.
They're definitely not going to attract any new good players either if they don't make the Champions League, because I know everyone, well, say everyone, almost every Liverpool fan is of the belief that Mbappe wants to come to Liverpool, so I can't see that happening if they don't make the Champions League.
No, I think that dream of them getting Mbappe's, I don't know, I don't even know where that circulated from. I mean,
I'm not sure if he's been quoted as saying that the only clubs, or his agent has been quoted as saying the only clubs he'd be interested in going to is Liverpool or Real Madrid, but why would you?
No, I mean the only way Liverpool, with their owners, they've run the club the same way as they always have. They've basically said to Liverpool, you can buy as long as you sell.
True. Yeah, you'd have to sell like a Mane or a Salah to get him.
Exactly. So the only way they could possibly afford Mbappe is if they go, or we'll let Salah go to Real Madrid for 130, 140 mil, whatever, and maybe they could possibly put a deal in, but then you'd have to take him back to his wages and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
But there's no way they would be able to keep Salah, Mane, and then possibly play Mbappe as well.
Yeah.
Because that ain't going to happen. So they're going to have to lose a star to bring in a star. And if they're not in the Champions League, he's not going to go there anyway.
Yeah.
So
that's very true.
I think that's a little dream at the minute. But yeah, I think Liverpool are in a massive issue.
Yeah.
With only 30, I think there's about 13 games left, 14 games left.
I think it's 13, 14 for the likes of West Ham who've got a game in hand.
Yeah,
what about
so
Everton then? What do we think this means for Everton? Is this like can this be the catapult to then push them into the top four?
Possibly. It's like what Coleman said after the game in his postmatch. He said it's nice, obviously beating Liverpool. It seems they should have been beaten the last few games. They've been beaten.
Yeah.
So they have to start winning those games as well as doing well in obviously like the derby and against the bigger teams as well. So I think that's what ultimately might let them down, is the results that they are getting against teams below them. And so I think if they would have won the last two games where they should have won, they would have been in the top four now with a game in hand.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, they would have been in pole position to get that last Champions League spot. I don't see why not, but it's just those games where they should be winning that they're dropping points in. And I suppose it depends if Leicester do what they did last year, where they would look certain to get Champions League, and then they dramatically just fell away. So it's if they can just keep on winning as well. So
okay, right. Well, moving on to the next game, Arsenal versus City, and again, City, pretty much dominated the game. Made a lot of chances. Only the 1-0 in the end. With I think that was another 3rd-minute goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's about 90 seconds, I think.
Yeah.
Again, I think Sterling could have had an hat-trick in the first 6-7 minutes.
Yeah.
But again, Arsenal, I think we're happy just to lose 1-0.
Yeah, they seemed content, and they tried for about 60 minutes, and as soon as they realised they weren't going to break us down, it was just 1-0's not that bad.
Yeah, I think it's just a poor mentality to have, though, isn't it? I suppose if you asked Arteta before the game and said, "Listen, you're 1-0 down with 15 minutes left," he probably would have took it, and then you go for it. If you lose 2-0, you lose 2-0. You're already
Yeah.
losing 1-0 anyway.
There's no difference.
Just
is
go
there?
for it and try and get a draw. So try and get some momentum. But they were definitely content in just taking 1-0, just getting out of there.
Yeah.
Personally, whatever I think, because City didn't even get out of first gear all game.
Yeah, it was a crap game, to be honest. Like, I think the only person for Arsenal that even remotely tried to get something going was Kieran Tierney. And
Yeah, I think he had a 10-minute spell before half time
where he just
where he
constantly
was looking
bombed
at
down the
danger.
left.
Yeah, and then I think we dealt with him better second half. Like Aubameyang just looks a shell of himself. He was getting shoved off the ball by John Stones and stuff. John Stones was keeping up pace wise as well, which was
Interesting.
interesting. Yeah, so it looks like Aubameyang's definitely lost half a yard as well.
Yeah.
I know he's in like his 30s now as well, so I think that's what he was known for as well, being like,
But yeah, he's
like
probably
very
one of the
pacey
fastest players in the world, isn't he? So
Yeah. So if he's starting to lose that, I think he's going to be in trouble.
yeah, I agree.
But I think watching the game, I think Gary Neville summed it up perfectly during the game about Man City this season. He'd likened it to boxing and Floyd Mayweather, and he said Floyd Mayweather used to box to say he knows he's winning, so he can just cruise to get a decision victory.
Yeah.
And he said that's kind of what Man City are doing. He said they're getting ahead. They know they're not going to concede, so they're just going through the motions really through the game, and that's pretty much what happened really, wasn't it? So I don't think they were in any danger of conceding at all.
Yeah, I did notice for Arsenal as well, there was a lot of needless giving the ball away. I thought Martin Odegaard, every time he got the ball, it went to a City player. I don't know if he wants to play for City or something, but just every single pass was misplaced. Even in that 10 minutes where Tierney was playing well, the final ball was terrible every time. So there's just no creative outlet.
There's always been a bit of a hype about him, hasn't there? But I haven't watched him too much for like obviously Real Madrid. He didn't really get many games, but since he's come to Arsenal, he hasn't really done anything that's made me think, well, there's some player there.
Yeah.
He's been very average. So, but there is talk about him, Arsenal trying to extend his loan till next season as well. So
I feel like someone signed him on Football Manager because he used to be one of them Football Manager wonder kids. And someone said, pick him up and see if he's any good, and he just wasn't.
Yeah, like that Freddie Adu.
I was going to say, like Freddie Adu. It's just like, give him a 4-week trial. He's amazing on Football Manager, and then he was terrible.
Yeah, it's just, I think Arsenal are in a bit of a rut as well. They said they're 10th as well, aren't they? So
I think 10th before the game. I don't know if they fell any positions from losing.
I think they stayed 10th. I think. If they get knocked out by Benfica on Thursday, that's their season over. Their season's done.
Yeah.
Which, for it seemed like Arsenal to say your season's done by February,
is embarrassing, isn't it?
It is embarrassing, but that could possibly well happen as well because Benfica aren't a bad team. So
yeah, and the tie, it's poised, isn't it, at 1-1. I'm not sure. Was it Arsenal with the away goal? Was it at Benfica the first leg?
I think it was at Benfica. Yeah. I'm not sure if it was one of them neutral ground games. Might have been possibly.
Yeah, but it'll still be considered someone's home game, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Benfica were at home.
Yeah. So at least they've got the away goal to go in their way, but yeah, it could be an interesting one. And what's that now? 18? Is it 18 now or 17 for City?
18 wins on the bounce.
18 on the one. Fucking hell.
We was meant to have West Ham and then Man United, but the Wolves game has been rearranged now, so we've got West Ham, Wolves midweek, and then Man United. So I think you'd think City would probably win both of them games. I think our next 4 games, 5. Is it 4? Apart from obviously the Champions League game midweek.
Yeah.
I think our next 4 games are at home. So I think we're probably in pole position to go 22 games consecutive wins, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd
which is
say
scary.
it is definitely, that's gonna, like, after the derby, that's gonna be the benchmark now to look at and say, yeah, no one's catching them. Like, if you have the lead you have now or any more, to be honest,
Yeah.
I just, yeah, I think you can call season done there.
Yeah, I said on obviously one of these podcasts a few weeks ago. I think I said if City get through this pit, I think we had
It was
Tottenham,
Spurs, Arsenal.
some like Spurs, Liverpool, Arsenal. Obviously West Ham were in form, so that was a tough game, and then Man United. So if we get through them 5 games, and the lead is still what it is now or larger, the season's done. And I think it's United drop points
now,
at West
isn't it?
Brom,
Yeah.
so it's larger now, isn't it? So I think if it goes to like obviously the Manchester derby, and especially if City win that game as well, and it extends it by a further 3 points, it's definitely done.
Yeah.
I think there's, I don't want to say and jinx it, but I think there's a possibility that City could go on and win all 4 trophies.
It'd be interesting to see. There's definitely a possibility, especially with the defence being as strong as it is at the moment. I suppose you just need one of your strikers to start firing rather than one of your midfielders. Because
I know, I
Gundogan's
think-
turned into the world's greatest striker, apparently.
I know. I think obviously the Premier League could possibly be done now. Obviously we're in the League Cup final against Spurs. With the way Spurs are playing now, I think City will be heavy favourites in that.
Yeah.
Especially because we've just walloped them as well, 3-0 at home. So we're in the FA Cup quarter-finals against Everton away. I think possibly the only team left that could get near Man City is probably Man United. Then obviously the Champions League, it just depends who you obviously get drawn against. But I think if you look at PSG lost again on the
Yeah, they lost
weekend, they're third in their league.
2-0 to Monaco.
Bayern Munich are top, but they're only 2 points clear.
I think they lost their last game as well.
Yeah, they lost against, I think it's Frankfurt. Might be wrong.
I know it was 2-1 whenever they lost against.
Juventus. Yeah, I mean Juventus are 6th in their league, so they're way off the pace.
Yeah.
I don't see any challenges from Spain. I think Barcelona are a shadow of a team.
They're not gonna make it
Real
through to
Madrid
the
are a
next round
shadow
anyway.
of their team. No, and Atletico Madrid, who were top of La Liga, are very beatable.
Yeah.
So I kind of like City's chances, to be honest, but it's how they do in Europe. To be honest, they seem to overcomplicate things when it comes to European games. So if they just stick to what they're doing now, which they should do because they keep on winning, if they just carry on playing the way they're playing, then I don't see why they can't go on and win the whole thing. Just before we move on, special mention to West Ham for being 4th with 13 games to go.
Yeah, it's hella impressive.
Considering they finished 16th last season.
Messi,
and now
Lingard getting it done as well.
do you think possibly David Moyes could get Manager of the Year for that? If they
make
go
top
up there.
4, you could definitely argue it. I suppose it depends how long this City run goes on. Because if City finish the season now and win all the rest of the games, it's hard to argue against Pep getting it, really, isn't it?
Possibly, yeah. I'm just thinking of maybe people will turn that and say, we expect you to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Whereas you don't-
Rather than
I suppose, yeah.
West Ham coming 16th and then getting Champions League the year after. That's some turnaround. I think it could be. I think it's just how you view it, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, there's definitely an argument for it if they make the Champions League. There's definitely an argument for it. I should say, making up. Say they finish 4th, making up 12 places is quite impressive.
Especially when you think of at the start of the season when Chelsea thought they were on Football Manager and just started signing, Werner, Havertz,
Yeah.
Thiago Silva, and you thought they were going to be. Obviously, you thought you had your simple like Man City, Liverpool, Man United. Then you had your Chelsea, Leicester are always good. There's 6, 7 teams you think are going to be there. So for West Ham to now be the fourth best team, I think that's some achievement, to be fair.
It's pretty impressive considering I don't think they signed many players this season either.
No, I know they signed the lad from Brentford, that Ben Rama.
Yeah.
I don't know if they might have made some like signings like squad players and stuff like that, but they haven't signed anyone.
That's what I mean. There's no marquee signings, was there?
No, there's no like. No, so
not like a couple of seasons ago when they went big and brought in like 4 or 5 really good players.
Yeah, I think that's sometimes where I think the criticism of Pep comes into question. And obviously, when people say, "Oh, he's only doing good because he's spent X amounts of money,"
Yeah.
but spending money doesn't automatically mean that you're gonna be successful.
No, it definitely doesn't.
When Fulham first got promoted back to the Premier League, they spent about 115 million when they got promoted, and then went straight back down.
Players, didn't they? Something like that.
Yeah, they went straight back down. They've come up now, spent some more money, and now they're still like 18th.
Yeah.
West Ham spent a shed load of money. Chelsea this season spent a shed load of money. It doesn't automatically mean it's going to work out.
It's buying the right players, isn't it?
That's what I mean. So it is what it is, though, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
But yeah, just thought of showing a special mention. I thought they're doing a top job, really.
That's fair enough. Okay, so the third game we covered was United Newcastle. Now, for me, the scoreline flattered United. 3-1 in the end, but we make hard work of it. It's just it's a week in, week out thing now.
I said on the last podcast that Newcastle were pathetic and dreadful.
Yeah.
Which I still think they will go down. I think Fulham stringing
really
some results
form.
together. So, and I just think Newcastle's terrible. So they did surprise me of how they were attacking United and stuff like that sometimes, like during the game. But I think it was always going to be a United win. I know that the performance wasn't really what we thought it was going to be, but the important thing is they got the 3 points.
True.
So, yeah, but I'm not a fan of Newcastle whatsoever.
No, I don't think Newcastle offer a huge amount, like threat-wise. Obviously, Saint Maximin played well. I thought Almiron was really good. But he just no support for him, and then obviously Joe Linton stayed on for about 30 minutes with an injury, trying to run it off, and just couldn't do it. So, but other than that, like they were quite restricted to like shooting from long range and stuff most of the time.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think like sometimes when St Maximin or Almiron were getting past the United, there was literally no one in sight.
Yeah.
So they were expecting someone to dribble past four or 5 players and score, and
that's where they miss Callum
just not
Wilson,
going to happen.
to be honest.
Yeah, and I think that was their only hope of staying up, keeping him fit. And I don't know how long he's injured for, but I think the Joelinton's they signed him for like 40 million, and he's terrible.
Yeah.
He scored like a handful of Premier League goals. He's been here like 2 or 3 years now. So they need to get him, obviously Callum Wilson, fit before the end of the year to have a chance of staying up.
Especially the way Fulham are playing.
Yeah. They just seem to be stringing results together at the right time. So you got to be worried if you're a Newcastle fan. But yeah, I didn't think United were in any danger of not winning the game, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm quite cynical when it comes to United. So as soon as they equalised, I was like, we're gonna fucking crumble now and concede another one. But luckily we started the second half with that goal and then just kind of kept the momentum. But it was a big win for us considering Leicester winning as well.
Yeah,
we really did need that win. So
yeah, because they had a good result as well last, didn't they?
2-1.
Aston Villa.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was I think you needed to win that game. Who have United got next?
I did check. Let me double check for you.
I've completely forgot. I did check all the fixtures, but they've just slipped me out now.
Is it Villa? Villa next? No, that's an 8th for me. Well, obviously we've got the midweek games.
Oh no, Chelsea.
Is it Chelsea?
Chelsea away, Palace away, Man City at home, West Ham away. So there's some tough games coming
And
up.
then Leicester away.
Yeah, there's some tough games coming up for United, so it'll be interesting to see now. I always think United played. I'm not sure about this season, but I think United are set up to play better against the bigger teams rather than breaking down the smaller teams.
Yeah, I think
they've got a lot of pace and.
I was going to say
stuff,
the counter attack's much better with a team that's going to come at us. We've got more of a chance of getting in behind, type of thing.
Yeah.
But it still does make me worry.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we said previously. You just never know what United team's going to turn up, do you? So.
Yeah.
But personally, I didn't think the result was in. Even when Newcastle equalised, I thought Newcastle aren't going to keep us out for X amount of time. So
Yeah.
I always thought that you would win. To be fair.
So speaking of which Man United team shows up, I would have much rather the Man United team from midweek. So when we recorded the last podcast, I think it was about 15 minutes away from kickoff.
Yeah.
So United ended up winning that one 4-0, dominant, to be honest. Probably could have been more. So I'd rather that United team show up every week if they could, but.
Yeah, I mean that's where the consistency comes into it, doesn't it? I think when you look at United's players, there's a lot of players that they're either on it or not.
I agree.
They're either really good or just really bad. Like Martial, I think I've always liked Martial. I think he's got bags of potential. But sometimes he just looks like a player that sometimes just turns up and just feels like, oh, I can't be asked today.
Yeah. I think
same with Rashford as well.
Yeah, I think with Martial, it always seems to come down to like his first touch of the ball. If he doesn't beat a player, he's just like, it's not it today.
Yeah.
So
that's what I mean. I think United have got a few of those players, which obviously hinders the whole team. Then, so that's an issue where they need to sort out. But I think Luke Shaw as well has been really good this year.
Yeah, I was considering I was just reading the stat then. In the last, I think it was in his United career, Luke Shaw's missed 711 days of football through injury. And it was only 3 years ago, I think, when he had a double leg fracture in the was it the Champions League or the Europa League, I forget, but either way it was in Europe. And to have come back from that and be in the form that he is in now, to possibly England's best left back at the moment, is quite incredible, really.
Especially because some players, when they get like a leg break, they don't recover.
Yeah.
And they don't come back half the player. They're scared to go into tackles and stuff like that. But I think he's been really good. I think he should definitely start for England in the Euros as well.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely the best left back we've got.
They often lose pace as well, which is an interesting one, which he doesn't seem to have done.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, I'm glad of that.
He looks fitter.
Yeah.
He always looked a little bit overweight, didn't he?
That was the whole thing with Jose Mourinho, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but he looks a lot fitter. So yeah, I think you've probably got to say Bruno Fernandes will probably get United's Player of the Year.
Yeah.
But I think Luke Shaw deserves a shout at least in that conversation.
If not like a player's player.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just something.
you got to recognise that, because I'm pretty sure now he's created something like 10 assists or something already this season.
Yeah, he said might have been during either the Newcastle game or the Real Sociedad game. I can't remember. It said he's got more. I think he's got more assists and more chances created than Andy Robertson for Liverpool.
Yeah, and
Who's
he's
supposedly the best left back in the world.
yeah,
So
I think that was during the Newcastle game because they were saying he's like the benchmark for left backs and chances created.
yeah, so he's not really getting a lot of like plaudits at all, really, especially from because he was apparently done, like finished as a United player, weren't he? And
Yeah,
now he's a bit like the situation with John Stones with Man City. Apparently he was finished and he's come back stronger than ever now as well. So that's what Luke Shaw's done. So
signing this competition seems to be helping people, doesn't it?
you know, so I think that's what's helping though massively.
Oh
Signing
yeah,
like
definitely.
a really good left back, and then it's giving him a kick up the arse. So
Right, so the other results in Europe during the week: Spurs 4-1 winners, Leicester drew 0-0, and Arsenal, as we've mentioned, 1-1 against Benfica. So, do we think that all of those teams will go through, or?
United are definitely through. Spurs are definitely through. I think Leicester will go through because their second leg's at home, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Um,
I think so is Arsenal's as well, I think.
the only one I worry about is Arsenal.
Benfica are a good side.
Yeah, I think they're a really good side. So, I think three will definitely go through. It just depends if Arsenal will beat Benfica.
I think the only issue with Leicester is they're gonna have to win the game, aren't they? Because no away goals. If I'm right, I'm pretty sure the first leg was away.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So failing to get that away goal could bite them if they don't win the game outright. Whereas Arsenal have got the advantage of the away goal.
Yeah.
Although it's long, so.
I think the difference is like the opposition they're playing. I know Leicester. I think Leicester played Prague, didn't they?
Slavia Prague, yeah.
Slavia Prague, and I think at home, obviously they're going to have, James Maddison, Jamie Vardy, Harvey Barnes. He's coming into a bit of form. I think they'll have too much at home. I think it'd be interesting seeing me like the next round if they get like someone a lot better, to see how they perform then. But you'd expect them to beat Prague at home, I think.
I would say so, yeah. Okay, so going from one European contest to the other, we'll take a look ahead at the midweek Champions League football. So on Tuesday we've got Atletico versus Chelsea and Lazio versus Bayern. And then Wednesday we've got Mönchengladbach City and Atalanta Real Madrid.
We'll start with Tuesday's games. So tomorrow, I think Bayern will definitely win against
Almost
Lazio.
Definitely.
This is hard. Chelsea, Atletico Madrid.
I
think Chelsea have been a lot better since they've had the new manager.
Yeah.
But depends. But Atletico are going to be like really hard to break down, like they usually are. So I reckon that's a tough one. What do you think?
I'm leaning towards Atletico. I know they got beat on Saturday or Sunday, I forget what day it was, but I'm just, for some weird reason, I'm leaning towards Atletico in this one. I still think, because like Chelsea drew this weekend, if I remember right. Was it
Yeah,
1-1?
Southampton.
Yeah. So, neither team are exactly setting the world alight. I just feel like Atletico might just have a little bit too much for them.
Yeah, I think if I had to choose someone, I'd probably have to go with Atletico Madrid. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Chelsea have lost since they've had the new manager, have they?
I don't think they've lost yet. No.
I know they've obviously drew a couple games and won a few. I don't think they've lost with Tuchel. So, but I like Atletico Madrid and I like Simeone.
Yeah.
And they're usually very good in Europe as well. Like what they did to Liverpool last year as well.
Exactly.
Beat them over both legs, and Liverpool were really, really good last year, weren't they? So I'll probably have to lean towards Atletico, probably, yeah. So I'll go with Atletico Madrid and Bayern Munich
Yeah.
to get the wins on Tuesday.
I'd say so.
Wednesday, I'm going to throw spanner in the works and say that Atalanta are going to beat Real Madrid. Atalanta, I think, are very underrated. They're a very attacking team.
Yeah, they were pretty solid last year as well, if I remember.
Yeah, there was. They got to the quarterfinals, didn't they?
They got
Quarterfinals.
Chelsea out last year. Or am I just imagining that? Maybe played Chelsea at some point. I know they played someone from the Prem, I think.
I can't remember, but
solid.
They should have. My mind's gone completely blank, but I think it was Atalanta who should have. The PSG scored 2 goals in 90 minutes to knock them out.
Right.
I think they were beating them 1-0. So PSG shouldn't have really gone through. Atalanta should have gone through. Atalanta are a very good team. They're very attacking. They was in Liverpool's group. They went to Anfield and won.
Yeah.
That was when Liverpool were in a bit of form as well. So it's not like the Liverpool of current form. So they went to Anfield and won. And I just think Real Madrid are a shell of a team. They're an Asian team. I think Atalanta might beat them. And then obviously I think Man City will beat Gladbach. I think that's our neutral ground.
I think you'll beat them easily.
I think we'll beat Mönchengladbach, but I think Atalanta might beat Real Madrid.
Yeah, I'm torn on that one because my original thought was a draw, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Atalanta win. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know whether it might be a different story when they go to Spain and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think they might do him in Italy. Got a feeling they might do him. I say they're a really good team, so I definitely won't be surprised anyway if they turn them over.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay then. Moving on to the UFC. Obviously, we only covered the main event, but I can quickly run through the results of the main card.
Mm-hmm.
England's Tom Aspinall submitted Andrei Arlovski round 2. Phil Hawes got the decision win over Nazardine Imavov. Chris Daukaus knocked out Alexei Oleinik in round 1, I think. Darrick Minner got the decision victory over Charles Rosa. That was a bit of a jiu-jitsu fight, that one, to be honest. It was quite interesting. And then, God, what's that name? Yana Kunitsakaya defeated Caitlin Vieira by decision. That was an interesting one. I don't know if you caught that one, but the third round, they spent maybe 3 minutes of the round on the floor. Caitlin Vieira was on Yana's back, but Yana was punching her in the face the entire time, basically, and they gave the round to Yana, which I don't disagree with, because she didn't advance position, she didn't threaten submissions, she literally just sat on her back, basically. And then in the last 30 seconds, Yana managed to turn it around and landed a nasty elbow that gashed her open, but it was an interesting one. And then obviously the main event, Derek Lewis, Curtis Blades. Derek Lewis with the second round knockout of Curtis Blades. Beautifully timed uppercut, put Blades out for a solid minute. That one went almost exactly as how I predicted in the last podcast, to be honest. Second round knockout.
Yeah, I think he was out as soon as it connected.
Oh, absolutely. The follow up shots were not required, but that's on her team.
Yeah, I mean, I think watching obviously the Curtis Blades Derek Lewis fight. Blades was winning the fight comfortably for me.
Yeah.
And I think he possibly could have just done that for 5 rounds and won what he was doing.
Yeah. The problem
I think
is
as soon as he went to try and take him down, that's when he got knocked down.
Yeah.
So
the problem is with that strategy though, it's eventually Derek Lewis going to catch you, and like he did, and that's what happens when Derek Lewis catches you. And as we've seen with the Volkov fight, Derek Lewis carries his power throughout the fight. So I'm not sure, because I think he had caught Blades in the first round, just not as well. And I think when Blades caught him in the first round, Derek Lewis was kind of playing possum a bit. I don't think he was as hurt as the commentators thought he was, type of thing. So
no, I don't think he was hurt at all, to be honest.
I didn't think he was hurt. I thought he was just trying to bait him in a bit so he could just exchange with him. I just couldn't see Curtis Blades winning a 5-round stand-up fight against him. Like, he would have had some success, but his only path to victory was the wrestling. And well,
I think it was. Like, I think Lewis said after the fight, he was waiting for him to try and take him down. So he was waiting for that uppercut, pretty much. He said he was either going to catch him with an uppercut or a knee. So whether the longer the fight went on, like, how long would he have been waiting for that shoot?
I suppose, you're always backing off, waiting for it and stuff.
Yeah, so I think to that point, it was Curtis Blades was winning comfortably.
I think he won round 1 easier.
Yeah, so it was. I think David Lewis is probably the better stand-up, but Blades was winning the stand-up exchange because Lewis was waiting for him to shoot. And at the end of the fight, rightly so.
It's as we say though, at heavyweight, them big boys can bang. So, it only takes one, and it's game over. Obviously, on Thursday we'll look ahead, but we've got another fight that's not the same, but like 2 guys that can really fucking hit hard in Cyril Gane and Yair Rosenstrike. It's just any one punch could end your night.
That's why it's hard to predict the heavyweights.
Yeah,
because you put them for the 4-ounce gloves on, like the big lads. If one of them connect, the first one to connect clean,
wins.
You're probably going to go out. So that's why it's hard to predict the heavyweights. But yeah, then the next UFC will be interesting as well, the big lads, and then obviously we've got the big one after that one as well.
Big one the week after that. I cannot wait for.
Neither can I. I'm really. Literally, I was reading through the whole card the other day, and I was just like, wow, it's just stacked, that card.
Yeah, that's going to be one where we're going to have to be like, let's just cover the main event because there's so many fights. We'll be talking for an hour.
I know, it's even like the prelims. Some good fights on the.
Yeah, there's some big
prelims,
fights,
weren't there? So.
Right. Okay, so that wraps up the UFC. I think all that's left on my half is to mention that the cricket, the 3rd test, starts on Wednesday.
Yeah, it'll be interesting how England react, because they got smashed all over the place in that 2nd test. So, which we both predicted India would probably do.
Yeah, not quite the same way, but
no, I didn't think they'd absolutely smash them, but I thought India would bounce back and win. Like we've discussed, they don't really lose at home, so I think they would have taken that 1st test personally. It'd be interesting to see how England react.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
To that defeat.
I'm excited to see what England's reaction to that one is, because getting beat so, bad, they really do need to bounce back.
Yeah, so I've not seen the. Have they released the team news on it, or?
And not that I've seen yet. No.
I haven't seen anything yet, so I don't know who's playing and who's. They usually got a rotating policy, haven't they? So don't know who's going to be out or in, or if they're going to go literally just put like the best bowlers in.
Yeah.
Don't know what they're going to do, so it'd be interesting to see the team news. I'd like to think they would bounce back, even if they do go ahead and lose the test match, just not in that fashion.
Yeah, at least make it close.
Yeah, make it competitive, make them work for it. But yeah, that's probably the thing that I'm looking out for, is the who's playing and who's not.
Yeah, I agree. Any more news on your end, or?
I could run over the we didn't preview it in the last video. Josh Kelly, the boxing, got stopped for the first time in his career. I thought Josh Kelly would win, to be honest. It was pretty much going to be, if Josh Kelly won that fight, he would then go on to fight Conor Benn.
Yeah.
With him losing, that probably ends that fight. For now, Josh Kelly's probably have to go in there now and win a few fights for that fight to happen. So that's a bit of a disappointment, because that could have been like an all British clash. So that's on the rocks now. Could happen, but I doubt it now. If Conor Benn's on like a winning streak and Josh Kelly's just lost, there's no.
It's not how boxing works, is it?
No, it's Conor Benn wants to go on and fight for world titles, and Josh Kelly's just lost for the European. So they're probably at two different stages now. So, but I was, Josh Kelly was just getting pressed. He just couldn't handle it.
Yeah,
the guy was just coming forward to him all fighting. He couldn't handle it.
Yeah, as I say, I read the breakdown. It says that I think he dropped the guy in the second round, didn't he? Josh Kelly dropped the other guy, or at least hurt him.
He wobbled him.
Yeah. And then
like badly.
After that,
he wobbled him badly. He had chicken legs.
Yeah.
But he did recover quite quickly, to be honest. And then it was from then on. It was just constant pressure all the way until the fight was stopped.
Yeah.
He just didn't know what to do. So props to him. But Josh Kelly's gonna have to go back to the drawing board.
Such is the way in boxing.
Which in the way in boxing, he probably will have maybe 3 tune-up fights now.
Yeah.
Where he's probably going to win, just to get his confidence back and whatever. I just wish boxing was more like the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, they've both probably got their faults at times, but it should be a bit more like ranking oriented rather than just like, I have this Norton 40 guy to beat to shit for 2 rounds.
That's what I mean. So let's just say, for example, if you took before Deontay Wilder lost to Tyson Fury, in my opinion, twice.
Yeah, I agree.
If you have a look at his record and say, oh, you're 40-0, and then you go and look at, I don't know, the people John Jones has fought.
Yeah.
And then compare those 2 resumes. Like, Deontay Wilder was fighting awful people when he was 38-0.
Yeah.
As world champion, like that had never happened in UFC.
No.
Like you seem to constantly fight like the number 1 contender, at all times.
Well, that's always been like even in the past, like you've always built a record with boxing. I don't understand why, but it just seems to be the thing, doesn't it? I think there's more marketability for them if someone's 25-0 than if they were like 9-0 but they'd fought some really good people.
Yeah, I mean, I understand when they're coming up the ranks, but when they carry on doing it, when the number 3, number 4 in the world champion, and they're still fighting like people that, like Deontay Wilder was fighting people that were unranked when he was world champion and stuff.
And there's also too many fucking belts in boxing, but that's a debate for another day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that'll never change.
No.
To be honest, never change. But if there was just one belt, if there was just that one belt, like there's one World Heavyweight Championship, there's one Cruiserweight, one whatever.
Yeah.
You'd see a lot more bigger fights. Than
definitely, because everyone wants that strap.
Yeah. So. No, maybe that's something they could look into in the future, but I just prefer the way UFC do it over boxing, even though obviously there's like a lot more money in boxing and stuff. I just prefer the way UFC do it, personally.
Yeah, same myself, but what influence do we have in the boxing world?
Absolutely zap.
Exactly.
I say whatever generates more money for them, they're going to keep on doing it, aren't they? So
Yeah, exactly. And look at boxing, you're getting paid 40 million a fight, and UFC, you're getting paid 500k a fight. So I don't think they're going to change their mind anytime soon.
no, definitely not. Even though I think UFC could, if they wanted to, pay the fighters a lot more.
Probably. I mean, it's a $3 billion business or whatever it's sold for. So
Yeah. But again, if it's down to the fighters, and if they want to accept 500k to fight, then UFC are paying 500k to fight.
yeah, true.
But I don't think UFC have a UFC don't have like a fighters union or anything like that, do they?
I don't think so.
Like boxers have like they have that sort of thing
Yeah.
where I don't think UFC fighters do, like cage fighters, or I'm sure they don't. So maybe that's something they can possibly look into if they want to get more money and stuff like that.
Yeah, it could be something they're already in the process of doing, to be honest, that we just don't know about. But
Possibly. I suppose we can mention now as well, while we're on the topic of UFC, that the Chimaev fight's pretty much been confirmed now. With
it has been confirmed. That's right. Yeah,
being replaced.
by
I'm not sure
Bilal.
why it's that. Is there something wrong with Chimaev then?
Yeah, he's still struggling with the after effects of COVID. So,
Right, okay.
like he's still struggling to like breathe properly and stuff like that. So he's unable to train and stuff, obviously unable to fight.
Cool. I didn't read why he was pulled from the card. So
Yeah.
so that's So the Josh Kelly lost. Chimaev's been replaced. So Leon Edwards will still get his fight. But I think that's pretty much everything.
That is everything.
Obviously, we'll do another video again on Thursday. We'll preview the weekend again, and possibly, obviously, go over the Champions League midweek games as well.
Yeah, we'll record it Thursday, but we'll post it Friday.
Yeah. But I think that is all the news that I'm aware of.
Yep.
But yeah, as we always say, like, subscribe, turn on the little notification bell so you'll be first to know when the videos go live. If you just watch out on Friday, we'll do another video on Friday.
Yep. Right. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.